number one is probably finding a new job that I really
Yeah.
like and also supports the rest of my goals.
Yeah.
Um, Along with that, I've been sleeping better than I have in like 3 years. Um, I have time to do things for me and I can prioritize that too. And then I also just feel more joyful and present at home and at work. And that's something that like I notice myself, but I also notice like friends and family and coworkers will say the same thing. It's just you just seem like so much happier.
They noticed that too. Hello and welcome to this case video with one of my amazing clients, Eileen Moisen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Amazing. And I want to actually kick it off today by just you introducing yourself. So tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, and your career. What do you do?
Yeah. So I'm a scientist by training, currently work in pharmaceuticals, helping launch new products. Before that, I did my PhD. I'm originally from Philly, but have been in Boston for the last almost 10 years. And I'm married with no kids, but 2 fur babies.
2 fur babies. Yeah, amazing. And I would love to go back to the time when we started working together. Tell us a little bit more about where you were back then with your career, with your confidence, with your stress level before we started working together.
Yeah, so I had a very different job when we started working together. I was actually in consulting before then. Um, and so with that, my stress levels were much higher. Like a 1 to 10 scale, I would say my average stress levels were probably like an 8 every day, with like peaking at 10 sometimes. And then my confidence levels were much lower. I think partly because of the nature of the job where you're in like a space where nothing's ever good enough, but also just because I didn't quite know what I wanted to do next. And so I just wasn't so confident in like my future.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and so for everybody who is watching, confidence and clarity go hand in hand, right? I work with a lot of high achievers, and once we know what we want, we can march towards that quite quickly often. But that's kind of the first hurdle, and that also impacts our confidence. So tell us a little bit about how, um, what were the things, the challenges, the pain points that were holding you back at the beginning of our journey when we started working together?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest one was momentum.
Mm.
And then fear of doing something different. It's like always feel safer to stay with what you know than go to what you don't know, even if you don't like what you know. So that was part of it. And then the smaller part was probably not necessarily even knowing that I could ask for help. And then, like I said before, like not having clarity on what I wanted to do. So if I didn't know like roughly what I was trying to do, how could I ask someone for help?
Right. Yeah, and actually having that courage. And I'd love to go a little bit deeper into how how were these problems, these pain points affecting, your career, your well-being, uh, your fulfillment back then?
Yeah. So career wise, it was definitely like I was kind of stagnating. Um, where I was still like moving forward in my job, but I wasn't necessarily moving forward in the direction that I wanted to move.
Mm,
Um, and then personally, because my job was so stressful and I didn't really like it, and um, it was so consuming, I felt like I was less present at home. I was constantly thinking about work and had a hard time turning off, and then was
yeah.
also exhausted. So it's just when I was present, but like the quality of the time wasn't there.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel?
Pretty exhausted. I
Mm,
had lots of trouble sleeping for basically the last 3 years.
wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? That can really affect our health. So success is one thing, right? But really our health and our well-being, for me, that goes always first. And that is also the foundation for performance. If we don't have energy, if we're not well physically, then we cannot really thrive. So I'm curious, back then, what were your biggest concerns or fears when, in terms of, as you mentioned, reaching out for help and actually doing one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, probably the biggest one was, like I said, like not quite knowing what I wanted. And so how was I
Mhm.
supposed to ask someone for help if I didn't know what I wanted? And a lot of
Yeah.
that is like the consulting training where you have to like have your like answer, you have to know what you need from someone before you go to them.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it was like I need to do it myself. It's like not even necessarily occurring to me that someone else could help me like figure out what I wanted.
Yeah, that's a big one. And actually knowing that, coaching is there to get you that clarity. And that's often first pillars we work on, getting that clarity. So congrats again that you were bold enough to reach out, for support. Now I'm curious, what are your top three things that you have learned or, adopted that made the biggest impact for you? In your life, but also career or personal life?
Yeah. One of the things we talked about pretty early on that I found to be super helpful was incremental steps, and failing along the way is better than not doing anything. Right. So progress instead of perfection. I was
Yes.
definitely a little bit afraid at the beginning to like not be as aspirational because I didn't want to not do what I committed to do. Um, the second thing was how to identify what I want in my life and my career, like basically the principles that I can use on and on in the future
Yeah.
when I am inevitably looking at other changes. And then the third one was around learning how to kind of turn off. I had been on so long that I was always doing something. And so the one thing you said to me that just stuck with me is we're human beings, not human doings. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And now that you actually shifted, you have now more time to actually be for the being, right? And enjoying that new time freedom, which is beautiful. Now, I'd love to hear from you, yeah, really from, looking back now over the last 6 months so far, what are the tangible results, right, that you're most proud of that you have, achieved in coaching?
Yeah. Um, Number one is probably finding a new job that I really
Yeah.
like and also supports the rest of my goals.
Yeah.
Um, Along with that, I've been sleeping better than I have in like 3 years. Um, I have time to do things for me and I can prioritize that too. And then I also just feel more joyful and present at home and at work. And that's something that like I notice myself, but I also notice like friends and family and coworkers will say the same thing. Is just you just seem like so much happier.
They noticed that too.
Mm.
Wow. And that's amazing. And what, how would you say has your confidence level changed?
It's gone up. I think mostly due to what you said around clarity. Like I kind
Right.
of know what I'm going for, and so that helps. But I also um like spent some time looking at what I'm good at and what I want to be good at, and kind of owning that instead of constantly looking for more improvement. And some of that just came back to simple things
Yeah.
like writing down gratitudes and celebrating like small achievements, um, instead of only always looking for the next thing.
Yeah. And everybody is watching, right? Those celebrations, that's a big thing here in coaching, at least with me, where it's all about creating that momentum that helps you to, go further and really have the energy to do anything. And often high achievers are waiting for the big breakthrough to actually allow themselves to finally, pat themselves in the back. But we got to pat ourselves on the back all the time, because that creates that momentum and excitement and happiness that we all need to go even further. Awesome. So
Yeah, it's
thank you
funny.
for
I got
sharing.
my husband doing it too.
Your husband, yeah, it affects everybody around us when we change, right? Every time in a good way and in a bad, when we change in a good way and in a bad way. So I know we talked about your husband with different things, and that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's really cool. So now he's also celebrating more. We're all celebrating more. And now everybody's watching is gonna celebrate more. So we all win. Now I actually have to now scroll. I had so many wins from you listed in my notes here. So how have those results really impacted you, personally and in your career? What were kind of the ripple effects that you can see now?
Yeah, I've had more time and energy and focus to connect
Mhm.
with friends and with my husband, which has been really nice. Um, and also still having time for myself, which
That's
before it
beautiful.
was a trade off of one of those three things, and then whatever one I picked, I wasn't really fully present for. Um,
Mm, wow. Okay.
yeah, that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, and I can see how that directly translated into actually reducing stress and then sleeping better as well, right? To actually allowing yourself to give back to you. And so I'm curious now, going through, the first 6 months of coaching, who would you recommend one-on-one coaching with me, and why?
Yeah, I think it's someone who wants to make a change
Mhm.
but feels a little bit stuck, maybe because they don't know what to do or feel like they can't get out of it. And just having someone who's uh, to hold you accountable and help you step back and think about um, your bigger goals. That's the right type of person. And then also, I think one thing I really valued from our coaching was that focus on holistic wellness. And so it
Yeah.
wasn't just the career side. It was like, what do you want overall in your life, and how can you fit the two pieces together?
Yeah, yeah. And again, everybody who is watching, right? So performance is not just about achieving, it's really that art of fulfillment. It's the health and the energy. Without energy and happiness, we're not going very far, right? And if we do often burn out later. So there's no point not to go there. So awesome that you enjoyed that and so far. So I do know for myself, right, that often making an investment can be scary. And, every time again, I have to also tell myself why I really want something. So, what would you tell someone who wants to, improve their life, who is ready to make a change, but they, are maybe scared to invest in themselves, maybe hasn't done coaching before? And what would you say to themselves that they aren't maybe not sure about hiring a coach?
Yeah, I think it's really investing in a coach is worth it. Like I said, if you want to make a change, if you don't really want to make a change, I think it's hard. Like, I don't know, investing in anything is not really worth it if you're not there. But if you're there, investing in someone that helps hold you accountable, and keep you motivated over what can be like a long, challenging process is extremely worth it to me. And seeing like the ripple effects through my professional and personal life, I think it's something that's like hard to quantify. And I found it just, yeah, when you like think about it in that way, and then like the investment up front doesn't seem so scary. I mean, ultimately,
Yeah.
invest in like getting a manicure or invest in other things. Like, yeah,
True.
this is like a really important kind of self care.
It is. Yeah, it is. And for many people, it's then also more than self care, right? So You can even avoid, it depends what we work on, right? But some people might eventually avoid getting sick. If we reduce stress, if we get your promotion, big financial returns. So yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for sharing that ripple effect. Now, thank you, Eileen, for your time, especially to share with us today and everybody else who's watching. And whoever is watching this video today, and you are interested to explore more coaching, investing in yourself, in achieving your most important goals, I'll share a video below this video where you can sign up for a 15-minute coaching clarity call with me. And we're going to go into creating a vision for you and dive into what are your top obstacles that are holding you back and make a plan for achieving this vision. So if you are interested, sign up for that today. And again, thank you so much for you, actually. Eileen, I am so proud of you, how far you've come until this point, and I cannot wait to see where you're going to go next.
Thank you.
Thank you.